Welcome to a community built of tomorrow's business leaders. Hey guys, I'm William Freitas, and this is the Socius Podcast. Cedric,
Well,
welcome to the show.
thanks for having me.
Mate, I'm excited to have you on the show. For anyone who doesn't know Cedric is from Suave Bespoke, and he is the mastermind, the man behind my suit game. So, mate, thank you for coming on the show.
It's my pleasure.
I'm excited to chat to you about all things suits and all things business, really.
Yep.
And there's no one that introduces you better than you. So, if you don't mind, let us know who you are and what you do.
Yeah, Cedric Mezieres. Obviously, I'm a tailor, so I make suits, shirts, jackets, pretty much anything to do with suits. And yeah, just a bit about myself. You know, I'm just another guy, just trying to make the best of things and make it in the business world, for say.
Yep.
But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm a tailor and I make suits.
And we'll touch on more about, I guess, tailoring and the suit game. But I want to get to know a little bit about you and what had you be where you are today.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about your background and what your experience is like.
Yeah, for sure. So trying to just go back in time of how I actually became a tailor. It takes me back to year 10 and 11. Thought I was the cool guy at school and as such, forgot to hand in my forms to actually, pick my subjects. And by the time I did, the only two courses left was sewing and cooking. Looked at it, saw who I wanted to be in class with, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to cook. I'll sew. Completely failed sewing. Didn't like it. Hated it. 2 years later, found myself sewing suits together. So weird how the world works.
So straight out of high school, so in year 10, you decided to do sewing, and then straight out of high school, you went into the suit game?
So straight out of high school, I was working at a hotel called the Shangri-La.
Okay.
I was working there as a waiter, for say. And there was a function there where a lot of people were just wearing suits and shirts, and I was kind of like, what do these guys do? They're wearing purple suits, green suits, just stuff that is just not normal. So kind of worked the room and, found out that a lot of them were in the suit game or tailors, so they were here for a conference. And then from there, just, worked the room, inquired, and all of a sudden found myself working for a company here in Sydney that, made suits and measured people up. So that's kind of where I started, and just haven't kind of turned back since.
Okay. And so what was the role like? What is it like working for a suit business?
Working for a suit business, it's quite competitive. It's more of a sales focused. When I first started, it's how many suits can you sell to earn X amount. It wasn't really about learning the ins and outs of the actual garments, how they're made, certain fabrics that are more appropriate for certain clients, things like that. It was just excuse me, it was just about how I can get as many suits sold as possible. And being young and driven, that's kind of all I really cared about at the time. It's, if I sell this amount of suits, I'm going to make this amount of money. Sweet, no worries.
Right.
And then I think it took maybe 2-3 years of working at the company I was at to really understand that there's more to it than just selling suits. It's about building those friendships, almost like a barber. Once you find the right barber, it's going to take a lot for you to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it took me about 2 or 3 years to understand that and imply that within my own business. It's, if I provide such a good service for this guy, I've now got a client for life. Unless I really, do something crazy, that client's going to be with me for a very long time.
And so back then when you started, was that in a shop front or were you doing sort of mobile?
It was all mobile.
Okay.
We had an office, so it was about 10 staff, 10 to 12 people that were working, and the office was solely for, being on the phone, doing those cold phone calls to people. Hey, Cedric, I'm a tailor. Do you need a suit? Nah, bang. See you later. So there was a lot of that, and the office was more so just where all the suits came in. We would schedule our calendar and things like that, but everything was mobile. So we'd be going out to clients, and doing the process that way. So bringing all the fabrics with us and everything which else, which it somewhat taught me a lot because it was it allowed you to, when I first started, it allowed me to run a business without necessarily needing a shop front, which, in a lot of other industries, you need that. You need a shop, or people aren't going to see you. But what I came to get from that, it's, you're actually saving people a lot of time, convenience by going to them. And for busy, business owners or people who just don't have the time to walk around a shop for, an hour trying to find something, it actually makes a lot of sense to go to them. So that really did help in the early stages of Suave Bespoke.
Nice.
But yeah, we've since expanded from that.
Since expanded and gone on to bigger and better things.
Yeah.
But I want to touch on a little bit about cold calling.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about what that experience was like and what you think you've learned from that, because I've had plenty of cold calls in the past, and admittedly I'm pretty bad with cold calls. Like, I don't really give them the light at the time of day. So yeah, what did you learn from it? What are do you recommend it? Is it something you still do? Tell us more.
I don't. I do recommend it for, especially when I hire now. I will get people to cold call. Not so much for the, not so much that you got to go and sell 100 suits from doing that. It's being able to deal with the constant rejection and not beat yourself up about it. But also having then that confidence that when you do get the right person on the phone, exactly what to say. The last thing you want to do is, for example, you get a referral and you call that person up, and you're just not confident on the phone. You'd rather do all of that to someone you don't know and probably won't buy a suit off you, opposed to, if you said, "Oh, Cedric, here's my mate, James, give him a call, he wants a suit." If I stuff up a phone call with James, then I've lost a sale. Whereas if I'm just calling someone off a spreadsheet or someone that I've just Googled on the internet, now what? So what?
And probably not even just lost a sale, but lost a relationship with the current client or current referral partner.
Exactly right. So you'd rather look, for lack of a better word, like an idiot to someone you don't know than someone who you potentially will bump into at some stage. But there's also a lot more to a cold call going forward. So, and this is just how I was taught. It's, there's a cold call and then there's an indirect referral and referral. So the process is there. It's an indirect referral. It's, "Oh, hey, Will, I'm actually in your building 4 times a week. Do you mind if I pop by and show you what I have to offer?" What that is, it's, "Oh, this bloke's in my building. Yeah, why not?" Whereas if I just go, "Hey, Will, I'm a tailor. Can I come and see you?" No. So indirect referrals do work.
Right.
And, it could be as simple as, rattling off some names that you potentially might know, stalk your LinkedIn, I'll stalk anything, like, it doesn't matter. Saw you at the dog park the other week with your dog. Do you mind if I come sell you a suit? Like, I'll go really into depth with it. But obviously, as I've gotten more experience and everything, my business now is solely based off, referral, having the right marketing things in place, of course. But for me, no more phone calls. But for the guys, definitely cold calling is up there, and I do recommend it at the start of a business.
So do you look for people that have the experience, or
No.
when you bring people on, you ask them to do that to get that experience?
When I hire, I tend to hire someone that has no experience in the suit game to start with. Or even, they may have done cold calling before, but I like to get people that just have no experience. And the reasons for that, I don't want preconceived ideas about how to do things. And it might sound a bit arrogant in some way, but I've got a business model that works. And this is, if you do A, B, and C, the results are A, B, and C. Where I've had experiences in the past of, hiring someone that was in the suit game, or tailoring game, as it were, and they just come with these ideas. And I'm just like, no, this is how then it just clashes. It's, I've done this before, I've done that. Well, that's great. But for what we need, these are the processes we have in place, and this is how it's done. Obviously, you have your own charisma and everything else, but especially when it comes to hiring, it's the less experience for me, the better. Because then I can kind of nurture them or teach them how things should be done. And as they grow, they'll then, incorporate their own little things in there, which is totally fine. You've got to be your own individual at the end of the day. But when you come with already preconceived ideas, it's very hard to kind of lose that and start again.
Yeah, well, obviously you can definitely mold them. And the interesting thing that I find about your take on cold calling is it's very, I guess, contrary to what other people think, I would say.
Yep.
Because some people view it like as in cold calling is the worst task that they can ever do in their lives.
Yep.
And I don't know if that's a confrontational thing, that they're just really scared in doing it. But some would say that potentially from a branding perspective, cold calling isn't as good. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that, because obviously you said you've built the business successfully to a point where you don't have to cold call anymore.
Yeah.
You've got enough referrals coming through the door, and you've built a brand of luxury clothing, right? Luxury tailoring.
Yep.
What would you say to, I guess, some of the small businesses that are thinking about potentially cold calling but scared about, I guess, putting their brand in that light? Like they don't want to be the used car salesman or the AGL or of the world. What are your thoughts?
I think the main thing I would say, and I'd ask this question to anyone listening, is the last cold call that you got, what was the name of that business? Probably wouldn't know. It's, I think from a branding perspective, it doesn't have any effect. Because I couldn't tell you the last cold call that I got, who or where they were calling from. And the reason for that is because I wasn't interested, and I just didn't care. And for the times that cold calls do work and the customer is interested, and you go and see them, that's where the selling actually starts. That's where the brand, that's where it can affect your brand. If you go in there and you're just not prepared, the fabrics that you're showing up right, things like that. Then from a branding perspective, it does. I think it can affect the business. But from simply picking up the phone and calling someone, I don't think that would affect your business in any way.
I'd probably agree with you in the sense that I don't remember who's called me from a cold calling perspective, but I do remember people that have cold called and it's worked just because it's happened so fewer times. But look, it still can work.
I think it can work, and look, it's a numbers game as well. If you call 100 people cold calling, you will get at least 2 or 3 sales. It will happen.
And so tell us a bit more about Suave Bespoke. How long have you been in business now?
So Suave Bespoke, it's been around now for 5 years.
Cool.
5 years going.
How big's the team?
Team now is 4 people.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So, of 5 people now. We're constantly just looking to expand. As you well know, we've got Barangaroo happening at the moment. Yeah. And then Melbourne early next year that will be opening up. I think we're a bit different to a lot of the other tailors out there. And the experience that we offer to our clients is very different. It's more personal. It's the same, like I said earlier, it's like having a barber. We want that relationship of, we have guys that will just come in and just to say hello. It's not even about getting a suit. It's, oh, hey man, just walking past. All of a sudden, they're having a drink, chilling out, whatever, telling us about their week or what they're doing, in the future, business-wise or personal, whatever it may be. Just the Suave Bespoke team is very, it's just very personal. I think growing from there, anyone that we do choose to hire, that culture needs to be the same all around.
Awesome.
It doesn't matter who you see, the service is going to be a premium first-class service. Yeah,
and look, we've used your service before, and mate, I think you're premium grade, and I absolutely love working with you. So I want to know what's, I guess, the number one factor to success for you?
The number one factor is having the right people. Having the right people, when it comes to business. So it could be, the people that we hire. Diving deeper to that, it's the manufacturers that we use, the fabrics that we use, all of that needs to be in line with the Suave Bespoke service.
Right.
So, when you, for example, you go buy a Ferrari, it could be the smallest thing, like the stitching that goes into the seats. That is still a premium stitch that you're getting. It could be the tyres that you get. Just because you've got the Ferrari logo, they're not putting a Toyota tyre on it.
Not Dunlop.
Everything. Exactly.
Yeah.
There you go. So everything is just first class, and that's kind of what we want to replicate in my business. It doesn't matter what you're getting. Everything is going to be a premium, premium fabric or premium construction levels. So going back to the manufacturers, having the right people, I'd say, just dives deeper into that as well.
And so tell us about manufacturing, particularly, because from what I understand, you source your fabric from overseas.
Yep.
Is that correct? And do you make the suits overseas? Or do you make them locally?
So we have two services. So the name's Suave Bespoke. So bespoke has been lost in translation. Bespoke is actually having something, you're standing there and having a suit stitched onto you. So that's a service that we do offer, and that's our in-house tailoring. The ones that are custom made, so they're all made in Portugal. And the reasons for that is the construction levels there, and the tailors they have are just premium. We've tried out a lot, and we would say that from a construction level, they're the best in the business. When it comes to manufacturing, it's very important that you are having the right people dealing with suits, because the last thing you want is to have a product that is having a good fabric. Client puts on a suit and you're having loose stitching, or just doesn't fit right, doesn't feel as good, things like that.
And so how do you come across, I guess, a contact in Portugal, right? Like, there are plenty of people listening to the show that are potentially thinking about opening a business, thinking about opening a product-based business, and they're like, we want to get overseas manufacturing. How do we pick the right people? So did you go to Portugal? Did you sample some of the stuff? Like, how did you find those contacts?
So with us, we got pretty, fortunate. And it was, I don't like to use the word luck, but essentially I was buying a leather case, or leather just briefcase. And the salesman was telling me how, in Portugal, their artillery is just second to none. I kind of thought about that, and, when I first started Suave Bespoke, we were using manufacturers, that we probably shouldn't have been using at the time. The quality wasn't the best, although suits looked great, quality wasn't there. And then I really thought about that, and I just inquired. I was just online, sending emails. There's that language barrier as well. So, you're sending emails, then the replies you're getting aren't the ones that you want. And then there's also the getting past that barrier of, are these guys serious? So, you could be contacting tailors. Doesn't matter where you are. You could be contacting tailors in Italy, London, Portugal, Spain as well, China, wherever it is. And they won't deal with you until they find out that you're a serious business.
So how do you build that? How do you build that legitimacy?
You've just got to order a lot. You've got to have orders coming in frequently for them to really respect what you do.
Let's take it back to day one, though. Like, how do you knock on the door of a random, manufacturer and say, look, I've got no track record. We're about to start.
Yep.
Do you have to put down a big order? Is that what it is?
It's not putting down a big order. It's about just, you just have to buy from them. It could just be your personal suits. You just got to actually place a few orders for them to actually go, okay, this is what we can offer. And the first couple of orders that you submit aren't going to be, their premium service or anything like that. They just want to see if you're legitimate.
Serious,
which is fair. Doesn't matter if you're ordering shoes or, just plain t-shirts. Any manufacturer overseas will do the same thing. It's just about finding out how legitimate you are, and then building those relationships from there. So now our manufacturers, I'd say there's probably 2 or 3 businesses that they deal with where we are a priority. If we need something done, for example, there's a wedding in 2 weeks, and I send a message or give them a call and say I need this done by Thursday, shipped by Saturday. It will happen. And that's just because the past 3 years we have we've generated them a lot of business, and they've
Yeah.
generated us a lot of business as well. So there's that communication thing there as well.
And you've just built this level of trust, right?
Yeah, which is huge.
Not only is trust important with your clients, but your people, whether it's your whether it's your employees, whether it's your suppliers.
Yep.
Trust is super important across it all. And obviously what you're saying is number one factor of success is the trust and success that you've built with the people in your business, both not just the team, but I guess wholesalers and manufacturers as well.
Yeah, I think with the team, it's trust is crucial. If your employees or your colleagues don't trust you or respect you, then it's very hard to have that culture within any business, I think.
Yeah.
And I think we're at a place where we're all on the same level. There's that competitiveness as well, where at the end of the day, you do want to make a living for yourself, and it's having those targets and you're hitting them, and you look at someone else, like, look what I did this month. Stuff like that. But it's all taken in the right way. There's nothing. It's not a competitive of I'm better than you, or I'm doing this. What are you doing? It's a fun culture that we have.
Yeah.
The other week, Adrian walks in, made a big sale, and it's just like, I'm taking the next week off. Take care. So stuff like that, and that's what keeps our team just bouncing around, happy. And I generally think that the people that we have love what we do.
Yeah.
We get to walk around in a suit all day. Looks cool. We feel confident when we're dealing with when we're seeing clients. It's not I don't feel like we're ever at this point actually selling a suit. And the thing that I say to the guys and pretty much anyone I meet, it's every man needs a suit. It's just a matter of time of when they're going to buy it.
Yeah.
We're not selling it. It's when they come to see us, it's our closing rates and things like that are extraordinarily high. I would say it's very rare that someone comes in and doesn't get a suit. It's you make that time, you got to get a suit. Yeah,
this is a super interesting point that I want to touch on because I feel like it's really hard to monitor a culture that's based on sales and really love the product that you're selling and the product that effectively you're putting out there, right?
Yep.
So obviously what you said is you love being in a suit all day, you love looking good, but what is it that you love about serving your clients? Because I find it, and you see, I guess, a challenge at times with some of your team, because obviously it's great to make sales targets and stuff like that. And it doesn't really matter what industry you're in. Every industry has a balance of making sales targets and really enjoying what you're doing.
Yep.
And you hit the nail on the head. It's not about selling a suit. It's about providing a service to that customer. And our closing rates are a lot higher because, we don't necessarily sell to them. They just come when they're ready.
Yep. I think with us, the number one thing is we enjoy what we do. We generally enjoy it. It's, I think the most rewarding thing is having a client in front of you chuck on their suit and they're like, wow, I didn't realize wearing a suit could actually be comfortable. Or you get the guy that, has just made, he was a junior associate when you first met him 3 years ago, and now he's promoted to partner at a firm. And he goes, man, it's because of these suits. I walk into a meeting, it's like I'm in business. Or the look on someone's face when, you chuck on their wedding suit. Those things don't happen all the time, and it's like we're there when that happens, and it's rewarding. And I think that's what we love doing, or personally that's what I love doing. It's when I put on, because I've set such high expectations to this client, and he puts it on, he goes, you know what?
Good suit.
Makes sense. Yeah.
See, and this is the point that I wanted to highlight, right? Because I feel like so many people, when they hear about entrepreneurs start business, that it's all hustle and bustle, make a dollar.
Yeah.
But it's not all about making money. Like, it's also about, producing a result for your clients. Making money just happens.
That's a great point, because when I first started, I would say I was on that left side of, I just want to make money. And I'd happily say I think I lost a lot more clients trying that way. Than I wouldn't say we're losing any clients now.
Yeah.
Or there'd be some that, just don't wear suits anymore, don't want to buy from us.
Yeah.
But back then it's, how could I sell as many suits as possible? Because I've just started up, I need capital, I need, X amount to hire, I need X amount to start up a shop, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And when I found myself in that headspace, yes, we'd be closing a lot, but the repeat business was, very, very, very little. And it took me a while to understand that, what, your goal here is just to provide a service, because if you provide a service, you've got a client for the next 10, 15 years or however long they're in business.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're just selling, you're just selling and that's it.
Yeah.
This guy, there's nothing stopping Will from going to another suit shop in 2 months' time.
It just becomes a price battle, really.
And that's it. And it makes your job a lot harder.
Yeah. And you raised a great example with, the junior associate becoming partner and sort of them joking about it being the suit.
Yeah.
How often do you, not how often do you see that? You probably see it happen quite a bit, but how big a role do you think that plays? And do you think it's undervalued?
I do. I do think it's very undervalued, because there is, although, some people may not think so, first impression is crucial.
Absolutely.
And I think having a well-tailored suit it gives out confidence. You walk in there, you look good, you feel good, and just how you come across to people is just extraordinarily different. Where if you're sitting there in a meeting, you're uncomfortable, you've got a stain on your suit, it's shiny, it just looks off.
Yeah.
You might be very good at your job, but the client may be looking at you and just be going, do I really want to deal with this guy?
Yeah. Yeah.
And look, that's not always the case, but let's just say, 8 times out of 10, someone doesn't care. Those two other times, that could be your biggest client.
And I think too, further to that, I don't know how everyone else views this, but I know when I dress a certain way or look after myself a certain way, I'm more productive.
Of course.
It's game on.
Yeah.
Obviously I played a lot of football when I was younger, soccer.
Mm-hmm.
Man, if I, as silly as this sounds, if I didn't gel my hair before that game, I'd play shithouse.
Yeah.
It was all presentation for me. It was all being ready to play. And whether it was a mindset thing, I don't know. But I think whether it's not just suits, but clothing in general, I think is super important. Presentation's key.
Very, very important. It goes all across the board. And I'm very much the same. I know, for example, I know my Friday suit. I know my Thursday suit.
Yeah.
If I'm going to, for example, measuring up the board of a football team, I know what suit that I'm wearing. If I don't have that suit ready, I'm like, I'm not on my game.
You guys just did the West Tigers, right? I'm going to drop that as a plug.
Yeah. Doing the West Tigers.
You should do the Roosters now, all right? We'll try and get you into the Roosters.
Oh, we'll see how we go. But yeah, so we're doing those guys. They've actually been a client of ours now for going on 4 years. So they've just renewed their contract with us. So we've got about 100 suits that we do for all players and staff. But even with those guys, I know what suit to wear. I know, the guys that work there, they like a more vibrant suit. So I wear something checkered. I wore one suit. It was checkered. The CEO loved it. Ended up buying it. I was like, yeah, sweet, makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, things like that. And going back to presentation as well, there is something very powerful about wearing a tailored suit. It can go more so than business. It could be going out to a bar, whatever it may be. There's just something very powerful about that, and receiving compliments. It's just for me very, very powerful.
Perfect. And what would you say is the current issue right now in today's, I guess, business world that you think needs changing?
For us, in our industry, it's I think the wearing of suits is not respected enough. So there's a lot of the smart casual, so just jackets, jeans, which is great, but I firmly believe you need a tailored suit in the wardrobe for that time that you do have an important meeting, and slacks and a jacket just isn't going to cut it. So
I was about to say that respecting a suit is a big call. So I want to know more of like what you view on this.
Yeah, no, respecting a suit because essentially, if you are in that business world and you're in a boardroom, or not even a boardroom, you could be even if you're in real estate, you're selling a house or something like that. If your client sees you in a nice two-piece suit, doesn't have to be fancy, just it could be a dark navy suit and tie. That is something to be respected. You look at any prime minister or any minister really. It's always a navy suit with a tie and shirt. It's not jeans and slacks, unless you're from the country, which is understandable.
Yeah.
A little bit less formal, but they're always in a presentable suit. You look at any CEO in the finance industry, for example.
Yep.
It is suit and tie. You go into a barrister's office. It's if they have that cloak on, it's suit.
Now I'm gonna challenge you though. I get this feeling like people think suits are dead, right? So I want to get your take on it. I don't think suits are dead.
Yeah.
But even in the finance industry, with clients that we've worked with, they sort of say, look, we start the week strong with full suit, full tie, but towards the end of the week we start to relax it. It goes down to chinos, it gets down to normal shirts, and then there's obviously an element of like dressing for your audience, right? And so depending on who your clientele is, you might change how you dress.
Mm-hmm.
What's your take on all of that?
There's definitely so I do it myself, for example. There is definitely that element of dressing for your client or dressing for the people that you're around, which is true. But how would I guess challenge that? I still firmly believe that any man needs a tailored suit, and the reasons for it is, let's just say you get person A on the left, person B on the right, walking down the street. One man's in a three-piece, pinstripe, plain suit with a tie. Another guy's in jeans and a blazer. They both come up to you and go, I'm a broker, or I do whatever. Who are you more likely or more inclined to trust? More of a visual thing, right? And don't get me wrong, person B in the chinos and jacket will probably, could do a better job or whatever it may be. But going back to first impression, I'd go with the guy with the three-piece just because he just looks the part.
Depends if I want to pay extra.
Well, there you go.
Depends.
Same with our suits. It's, pay extra, you get a good service. But it's just for me, any man just needs a tailored suit. Doesn't matter.
And actually, on that, if you don't mind me asking, like, do you guys do women's clothing as well, or is it just male?
Yeah, so we do women's. That's something that we've just recently dived into.
Thank God. I honestly feel like that's a real gap. Like,
huge.
Particularly my wife, I'm going to put it out there, she struggles with suits. Like, I feel like there aren't too many female tailors out there.
And the reason for that, and being in the industry, it does float around a lot. It's when I'm, as a tailor, I see a gentleman make him a suit.
Mm-hmm.
It is much easier, and it shouldn't be that way, but it is much easier to measure up a man for a suit than it is for a lady.
How so?
And because men come, with pretty much one, it's pretty generic. Nothing too crazy, whereas women do come in different shapes and sizes, and it does make it a little bit harder. And there are some places that just don't want to deal with the hassle of doing that, and you can't charge more for the exact same suit. It's not something that you can do. Whereas what we've done now is we've kind of incorporated measuring systems to kind of cater for that. So now that we know how to actually construct a woman's suit properly, it makes it a lot easier for us to now dive into that. And there are certain fabrics that you need to suggest when it comes to dealing or having women's suits. Some with a little bit more stretch to it. Reasons for it, they like things a lot more fitted. Or some ladies like it a lot more fitted. So you need certain fabrics to to kind of match with that. So
Yeah.
now that we've dived into making suits for women, it is quite popular, and we didn't think it would be at the start, but like you rightfully said, a lot of women struggle to find suits, pretty much anywhere. And the only places that do it, they're not really suits that are for work. It's more so, for the races or something. It's not that just formal wear type of suit. So it is something that we are, and we're still in that learning phase as well, where we want to get it, perfect, as close to perfect as possible.
Yeah, it's an interesting point, right? Because I've seen other people in the past that have sort of selected, we're just doing men only because we know how to service that market a lot better. And I don't really know what the uptake is on, female tailors out there.
Yep.
So potentially that's been an impact, I guess.
It has nothing to do with having a female tailor.
Okay.
So we've got we've got female tailors working with us. That service both men, women. I'm the same, service both men and women. It's more so understanding the fabric and the measurements required. Because when they come to put that suit on, the last thing you want to be doing is standing there with pins trying to make it right. You want it to look ready to go, and you're just doing minor adjustments. And that's I think that's the biggest difficulty. And it happens with guys as well. So the biggest thing with us, it's making sure when that person puts the suit on, they feel, $1 million. They're not having, pins sticking out of them or these massive alterations. They're almost thinking, well, what are you doing? I could walk out with this now, I'd be happy, but we're there.
Yeah.
No, hold on. Let me just do
detail.
this, and you'll see the difference once it's ready. For us, that's the biggest thing.
Okay, cool. So really, all in all, the issue that you're finding is people are wearing suits a little bit less. Is that right?
A little bit less, which is now forcing us to do a lot more weddings, which we haven't really dived into in the past. We've obviously we do wedding suits, but weddings are a very competitive industry, which we don't really want to be a part of. It's there's a lot of bartering that happens with weddings. And it's just, it's not really a place where we want to be, competing with other tailors out there of who's got to give the best price. The way I envision Suave Bespoke is, you don't walk into a Tom Ford and go, I can have a 20% discount. It just doesn't happen. You walk in there, you know what it is, and that's it. And that's where... that's the standard that I'm trying to uphold for us. So when we are dealing with those wedding clients that want to do the whole bartering thing, it's almost better for us to just say, look, we can't do it, opposed to jumping in that battle, because that's where I think branding, it does affect your brand,
right?
Because yes, you've helped this one client out, but then he's going to go to his mate. Oh, look, if you keep going, these guys will, they'll give you a discount or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And we just don't want to get into that market, because all that happens is you give one person a discount, you've got to hold that price.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you're having a bad week, you're like, oh, an extra $10 off or something. Now that person's just gone even lower, and it's just, we don't want to, that's not a space that we want to delve into.
Why do you think the wedding space is like that? I mean, is it because it's a suit they use once in their life and they're never gonna
there's one
reuse or something?
There's one simple answer to that, and it's the man's suit is the last thing that gets purchased at the wedding. It's the very last thing. The flowers, cake, venue, bride's dress, rings, all of that is paid for before the suit.
Okay.
Like, we get guys coming to us 3 weeks before their wedding,
and there's very little budget left.
And it's just like, the last thing I care about right now is my suit. I've just spent $12,000 on flowers that I'll see once.
Yeah.
The last thing I need is a suit bill. Like, it's the last thing. And that's why it is a very, for us, it's one of those stressful things, because and I get it. Like, you've spent a fortune on a wedding, and, some people are more fortunate. They'll spend whatever.
Yep.
Some guys are really like crunching down numbers.
Yeah.
And when it gets to the suit, it's just like, man, whoever gives me the best price is who I'm picking.
I mean, for me, the suit was completely different, right? It was like, this is going to stay around forever, and it needs to be a piece, like it's a piece of history.
I need more guys like you. That's all I can say is I wish there were more people like you, because
that's how it needs to be marketed.
Yeah, the way that we the things the stories we hear, and it's just it's crazy. Like I said, the fact that people are coming to us 3 weeks before their wedding, it's like, mate, come on.
Yeah. And so obviously Suave Bespoke is known as a business suit or business tailoring brand. Yeah. And so now you're sort of branching off into a little bit of the wedding space.
Yeah. So we've always done weddings. We just it hasn't been part of our marketing strategy before. I'd say before, the pandemic, we were solely marketing for business suits. They would still get wedding inquiries, though the wedding inquiries we were getting then, there were people that were referred to us, or there were referrals. They just knew us had come in, and they knew what they were getting already. Whereas now, since we've started marketing that wedding space, we're now getting 10 to 20 inquiries a week about weddings. But again, it's more that bartering process. Whereas for yourself, you referred someone to us, and for a wedding suit, they'd have a kind of a preconceived idea of what their budget is, what they'll end up spending. Whereas when you're just getting inquiries online, it's solely whoever gives me the best price, I will choose. Which is not, I wouldn't recommend doing that for your wedding suit. I'd always pick quality over the price. But again, it's each to their own, and whatever works for you, I guess.
Yeah, no, I love it. Everyone's got a different view on it, I guess. Now, the one thing I noted too that I wanted to sort of rewind a little bit. Let's go into your vision. Tell us about your vision. Where are you going for the future? For your business being Suave Bespoke, and also where your industry is heading.
Yeah, so I guess for Suave Bespoke, it's my vision there. It's how are we going to set that standard of being industry leaders? When the name Suave Bespoke is mentioned, what are people's views on that? Is it luxury brand, luxury clothing brand, or is it local suit tailor? For me, I want it to be on that. I really hold it to that Tom Ford level. I want people to say Suave Bespoke and go, these guys are they're the best. They're the best at what they do. When you go in there, you'll see why. And for a lot of my clients, it's when they, when I say they're referring, the best compliment I could ever get, it's for a client to go to me and said, I gave you a referral, and all I said to him is, just go there and you'll find out why.
Yeah.
Not, go see Cedric. The suits are good. It's, mate, trust me, go there, thank me later.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
That's the vision that I have for Suave Bespoke, and then obviously expanding our showroom. So Melbourne, want to have a couple in Sydney, pretty much anywhere that people wear suits. Going international even, like there's no stopping.
Yeah, cool.
And I think I'm at that stage now where I'm just I'm driven to make it work.
And so if we take a little step back, that's what I asked earlier, but obviously you're now looking at establishing some showrooms. So I'm keen to get a little bit more flavor or a bit more of a vibe as to what you're looking at creating in those showrooms. But also, why in store? Like obviously you started mobile. Like give us the take on where you see how both relate.
So they relate because we're at a stage now where there's a lot of people that I've come to know that they need to actually see the product. And as we're getting, beforehand when I was doing the, just referrals and, calling and, going to people, it worked. And there were a few times where people said, I really want to see the suit, blah, blah, blah. And there's enough inquiries now where there needs to be a shop front for people to just come in, because we can't cater to, traveling to to all the people that we're booking in. It just doesn't make sense. We still offer the service of coming to you, but having that presence there is actually, it is saving us a lot of time as well. Although we want to have that convenience for our clients, we also need to think about on our end what's going to make our business more successful and effective.
So is it something that you offer your clients, that we can come to you, but
that's still
suggest you come to our showroom?
That's still our bread and butter.
Okay.
It's coming to them. And the best, or one of the best things that we provide, it's there's clients, for example, in Bowral or Wollongong. 45-hour drive. Our consultations to come to you don't cost you anything. We could come there, spend an hour with you, come back, 4 hours of our day. You could choose not to buy from us. That's completely fine, but that's still a service that we offer. It's coming to you, and a lot of people appreciate that. And from experience, it's if you've got a guy travelling an hour to come see you, you'll most likely
work with them.
Work with them, unless you go in there and absolutely
botch
it up. There's very little likelihood that they won't shop with you. But we're at a stage now where we just need a showroom.
Cool.
There's too many orders coming in. We also need to put these suits somewhere. So
what's it going to look like? Give me the vibe. Is it like mahogany walls? What is it, man?
It's all what's the best way I can say it? It's very New York loft style. You walk in. It's a showroom where you walk in and you're in a good spot. From the service to the just the way it looks. You got the marble countertops. It's all black, of course.
So by the time this episode launches, I'm pretty sure it'll be open. Right.
Yeah.
So you'll have to give us a plug.
Yeah, for sure.
About where it is. And tell us a little bit about the vision of the industry. Like, where do you see tailoring going moving forward?
So tailoring, I think tailoring needs to be respected a lot more. Just because I think at the moment it's, you'll go to a shop, for example, some guys will just buy a suit, then go to a tailor afterwards and get it fixed up. And what I've tried to educate people that see me for the first time, it's, that process is very convenient, because it's not a long process, probably a week. Buy a suit from David Jones or wherever it is, get it altered. Whereas to have a suit that's made for you by hand, by someone that has experience in dealing with, for example, different body shapes and everything else, it's a very big skill. It's not everyone can do that.
Not everyone can buy off the rack either, right?
Exactly. Not everyone can buy off the rack, but it's also, when I say to be respected, it's the people that we come across, the people that we see. And I've said this before. It's a lot of them have said to me, Cedric, a lot of my staff. I've got CEOs of banks that I've worked with. It's you can never sit in a room with those guys. Whereas here I am, the tailor, sitting there talking about how their kid's soccer game was on the weekend. And relate it to a barber. It's once you find the right tailor, it's like having the right barber. You're never gonna go anywhere else unless they completely botch up your hair one day or they do something ridiculous. And that's why I feel the industry in itself needs to be respected a lot more. And just the trends that we kind of set as well. It's you'll see all these suits bouncing around the place or different colours. It's tailors that are creating this. It's when you see that crazy pinstripe down the street and you're like, oh yeah, that's cool.
So you're the trendsetter.
Yeah, we're the trendsetters. Like that's us, and that's what I tell all the staff. It's we are at the end of the day walking mannequins. Yeah, we sell. It sounds a bit weird, but we're selling ourselves in a sense. We're walking around. That's why I wear like a green suit. Yeah, that's got to stick in someone's head. Yeah. And the next time, I don't know, they might want a green suit. Like, oh, I remember that guy, double-breasted green suit. Yeah, that looked pretty cool. Obviously, there are times where, you just wear a plain blue suit. But, we're at the end of the day, we are walking mannequins. And that's how, I'll, be walking down George Street, for example, and some random bloke, it's a cool suit. Where'd you get it? Oh, well, actually, mate, I'm a tailor. I made it.
I'll have to measure you up.
Yeah, on the street. It's funny that when I was working, when I first started in the industry, I used to walk up and down George Street with my suitcase, and I'd actually have a tape around my shoulder.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's cool.
People would laugh at me. I go back to the showroom, and they'd be like, hey, "What are you doing? Like, you're walking around with a tape around your neck, and you're pushing the briefcase on." And I used to actually think, yeah, it's a bit weird, isn't it? The amount of times, like, I'd just get stopped and they'd be like, "Mate, what, you make suits?" Like, yeah, I do. And get business from it. It's ridiculous.
I think it's something super cool.
Yeah.
Like, as silly as it is, it's almost like a tradie walking down with his tools. Like, you're ready to go, you know?
Yeah, you're a businessman. You carry your briefcase.
Yeah.
Tailor.
I've always got my laptop on me. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, there you go. So, I used to joke around. Like, if someone stopped me on George Street and needed a suit, I'd measure them up there and then. Like, I wouldn't even feel bad.
Did it happen?
Nah. But if it did, I'm prepared. I'm ready to go.
We'll have to manufacture that somehow.
Yeah.
Just for like a publicity stunt.
Yeah, why not?
That'll be good. Mate, Cedric, it's been awesome to have you on the show. I appreciate you coming on. But leave us with, I guess, a little bit of a plug. Where can people find you on socials and all that?
Yep. So Swipe Bespoke on Instagram and on Facebook as well. Mm-hmm. We've also got Twitter, which is something that we've
for all the crypto stuff. Or?
Yeah, crypto. No, just for all the for all the guys that use Twitter. Like, I don't know how it works, but if you want to tweet us, Swipe Bespoke. And then LinkedIn as well. You can find us there. We've got a few articles on best ways of how to wear a suit, different fabrics that we suggest for all industries and things like that. Our showroom is located at Tower 2 in Barangaroo. And for the guys in Melbourne, we'll have an address for you as well come March, April next year. But that's, just getting set in stone as well. So that should be exciting times going forward. And then, if you guys ever need a suit, Swipe Bespoke is the place to be.
Perfect. Thank you very much, mate. It's great to have you on the show.
No, my pleasure.
We'll chat to you soon.
Fantastic. Love it.
Socius, thank you for joining us today. Please hit the subscribe button if you've enjoyed this episode. And if you'd like to be part of the Socius community, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn to stay in touch. Cheers.